Let's have it.
Pleasure to have you join us on this week's edition of Senate 109. I'm Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin this week with health-related matters. The Senate has adopted a motion by Senator representing Kwara Central, Ibrahim Oluriegbe, seeking an investigation into the abandoned 400 billion naira National Primary Health Center project initiated back in 2006. The senators are curious about the status of the project funds warehoused in a commercial bank and want to determine the progress of projects in the 774 local government areas.
This motion by Senator Oluriegbe seeking to know the status of the project funds and progress in all local government areas whose monies were said to have been deducted from the excess crude account but allegedly abandoned enjoyed the support of senators.
That many or some of these projects were commenced and abandoned at various stages, while the majority of them were never started, despite huge sum of money released to all subcontractors.
At inception, the construction of these primary health centers was a major thing for the country, and it would have helped our health care center and supported whatever fragile healthcare system we had in the past.
99 Constitution has amended, has given us this power to inquire, to ask questions and find solution to it. So with this, I want to support this effort.
Carry out evaluation of the consultant, contractor and subcontractors that participated in the project. 4, carry out a schedule of dilapidation on the projects. And 5, recommend ways of completing the projects nationwide. So those in favor of the prayer as amended, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the Senate has advised the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 to deploy technology in detecting fake test results before foreign trips. This, among others, is the recommendation of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee investigating alleged fake COVID results in the country.
This hearing is sequel to adoption of a motion at Senate plenary over allegations that Ghanaian authorities have tested Nigerians who travel to their country positive for COVID-19, even after testing negative in Nigeria. Stakeholders on the subject matter took turns to intimate the committee on the journey so far on COVID-19 testing measures in Nigeria.
There are people who leave Nigeria who are determined and hell-bent on not following the protocol. They obtain fake results here, and therefore, when they arrive in other countries and they are tested, they can be positive.
The PSC in the last few months confiscated quite a number of international passports of some of the people that are found to have either violated some of these protocols. The PSC, NCDC, and of course, they will go and work out a system that will leverage on technology that will eliminate the human error or what we are seeing in the system now.
Meanwhile, the committee also received submissions on 5 health-related bills aimed at improving the sector.
What we have inserted in it is that every hospital, public or private, shall receive for treatment with or without police clearance.
Give the eye hospital additional infrastructure and equipment so that they can increase the number of people that is served within that community and the environment.
This project will be one of your successful stories if established.
Much as these deals are desirable, we need to
count the cost.
Both chambers of the National Assembly need to agree for the bills to be passed.
Now, the Senate will continue to make laws that will provide adequate healthcare services to Nigerians. This was the message of Senate President Ahmed Lawan at a two-day public hearing on 4 bills.
Nigerians from far and near are in FCT solely to present memoranda aimed at improving the 4 bills before the Senate Committee on Health, underscoring the importance attached to the bills. Among the bills include the one for the establishment of a Federal Orthopedic Hospital Obokun, Osun State, a bill for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology Akure Teaching Hospital, and a bill to establish Federal University of Medical Sciences and Biomedical Technology in the 6 geopolitical zones.
Our reviews today have to be well-meaning to grow our understanding and shape the policy and program framework.
The committee will continue to enact laws, especially health laws, to meet the health demands of the citizenry.
This bill seeks to provide is the enabling environment and infrastructures to harness the abundant human resources available in Nigeria.
There were various submissions from concerned stakeholders.
If orthopedic centers are located in other areas, definitely you're going to have more orthopedic surgeons and orthopedic care will be made more available.
We will provide land and every other support needed if this is considered in our area.
Our only concern is that this institution should be one per each zone of the country.
The Federal Ministry of Health has no objections to this bill as it is long overdue.
The Federal Ministry of Health has summarized it all. I concur with the submission.
Given the demanding nature of healthcare services, the passage of the bills is expected to close any existing gap in healthcare at grassroots.
And Senate President Ahmed Lawan says there is a sustained commitment by the 9th Senate to enact people-oriented legislations that will bring about the dividends of democracy. He was speaking at a one-day public hearing on 7 bills bordering on justice and security.
The search for solutions to national challenges continues with the Senate holding public hearing on 7 bills.
Whether new or old, they are geared towards increasing the capacity of the justice system, which is the basis for the stabilization of our democracy, leading to good governance and progress.
The committee resolved to conduct a public hearing in order to collate inputs from stakeholders, which will form the bedrock of its recommendations to the Senate.
We hope that all of us that are seated here today will be able to give our utmost best.
Among them is the bill to amend the Terrorism Prevention Act, bills to establish abduction and wrongful restraint and confinement for ransom act, a bill to establish witness protection and management framework, and to amend Administration of Criminal Justice Act, as well as the one to amend the Court of Appeal Act.
Everyone here is afraid of being abducted, whether in the military or a civil person like me, so it's a very welcome development that you are looking at this area.
This bill seeks to increase the number of justices of the Court of Appeal from 90 to 110, as stated. The forces of the bill view that this is a great step for the judiciary.
Witness Protection and Management Framework Establishment Bill 2022, we also support the bill.
The Institute considered all the 7 bills. We disagreed with some of the sections proposed.
The passage of those bills is expected to strengthen the judicial and anti-corruption war.
The National Assembly Joint Committee on Aviation has called for a speedy resolution to the growing number of flight disruptions affecting some airlines. This was during an oversight visit to the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA.
Lately, there has been a series of complaints by air travelers over incessant flight delays and some cancellations without prior notice by airlines. Many travelers have had to spend several hours at airports waiting to board. Reason for the delays are never given, and when flights are announced, no apologies from airlines. Many have taken to social media to call out airlines, a development members of the aviation committees in the National Assembly say should be handled quickly.
Providing funding and keeping the industry is good, but again, one aspect which must be equally catered for is the well-being of the workers in the aviation industry.
The issue of flight delays, which is affecting businesses and a lot of so many things. We cannot take it again. We also have agreed that we invite all the heads of agencies and invite the airline operators.
Acting Managing Director, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, Matthew Pajo, assured that all navigational facilities across airports to aid aircraft takeoff and landing in the event of bad weather have been installed.
As a policy and as a strategy, we are fully deploying Cat 2 minimum in any airport, whether state, federal government airport. It is Cat 2 we are doing.
The Commissioner, Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, Akin Olateru, appealed to them to hasten the passage of AIB's multi-modal bill before the National Assembly.
The Constitution Amendment process continues to gather momentum as the Joint National Assembly Ad Hoc Committee on the Constitution Review in the week engaged with the state houses of assembly with a view to seeking the endorsement of their colleagues at the state level. This followed the aggregation of all proposals and harmonized positions that followed the lengthy debates across 12 zonal centers last year during the public hearings on the review of the 1999 Constitution.
This is the convergence of the nation's legislature, both at the national and subnational level, having aggregated all proposals and harmonized positions that followed lengthy debates across 12 zonal centers of the nation. During the public hearing on the review of the 1999 Constitution, the Joint National Assembly Ad Hoc Committee is seeking the endorsement of Parliament at state level.
The proposed amendments in the bills we have shared with you set out institutional and legal reforms, which together with sufficient political will help to strengthen institutions of governance, provide for accountability and transparency in governance.
Whatever we have done will still go through the State House of Assembly for their own input and vote. Hence the need for this collaboration synergy, which would give us this opportunity to engage, consult and harmonize.
We want to respectfully call on the National Assembly to endeavor to carry along other major stakeholders like the presidency and the executive governors.
Midway into the retreat, participants have this to say.
All agree. There's a lot of areas that need to be amended, but so far we are working on the same page, and I'm optimistic that at the end of the day we will all be on the same page.
And what happened in the past 1 hour is an attempt to understand each other, and that is why for close to 1.5 hours we took just a subject matter to deliberate on.
The Petroleum Industry Act 2021 is about 5 months in existence now, and to ensure proper implementation of the provisions of the Act, the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources Upstream has over the past few weeks embarked on rigorous oversight of the relevant agencies responsible for this key mandate.
I think it was televised live. Live, yes.
alive. That was 2nd February 2019. It has the wellhead there.
That's why this one that you guys built.
Yes, sir.
One of them.
That's the
three. It's not the three.
Yeah, now we do. Shell did one.
Yes.
Then this is the first one we did. Mandate actually is to explore for oil and gas frontier basins. And once we drill, whichever direction it goes, government is looking for that. If we say there is nothing here, government wants that information. If we say there is something, government wants that information as well. If we say there is nothing, then nobody will spend efforts again to do anything in that particular area. If we say there is, then government will take it to the next level. That is our mandate. The chairman, sir, Senate Committee on Petroleum, Upstream, the members of the committee, all distinguished senators, the military members of the press, colleagues, good afternoon. We are here at Kolmani River 4 drilling location. This location is in the Upper Benue Trough, which is popularly referred to as Gongola Basin. NMPC, through the Frontier Exploration Services Department, Services Division, fully supported by our top management, evaluated the entire inland basins, and this particular area came up top in the ranking list. With this, we were able to identify different technologies to evaluate the basin. We acquired high precision 3D seismic data here. We processed, interpreted, and came up with a couple of well locations. The last one is Kolmani River 2, which we visited. This is Kolmani River 4 that appraised Kolmani River 2. Both wells have found significant quantity of hydrocarbon. And to us, this is a very big success in our exploratory work. So our efforts now has moved to other places in the inland basins. Thank you, sir.
Well, my distinguished colleagues, the Vice Chairman of the committee, Abdullahi-led NMPC team, we are very much delighted to be here and to let Nigerians know exactly what's been happening in the frontier. The real essence why the National Assembly set aside the Frontier Exploration Fund
was to deepen activities in the frontiers, just like we have done in the Gongola Basin, in the Benue Trough generally. Where we are right now and what we have been doing since morning is to actually see for ourselves, for the first time in the history of our country, efforts made by the Mele Kyari-led NNPC in ensuring that the development of frontier and the creation of economic viable data that will attract the much needed investment into the oil and gas sector in this area, it's pursued with great vigor. And I'm very happy, and I believe that my colleagues too are very happy. Baba, am I right? Am I speaking your mind? We are very happy with the level of activity of NNPC Limited in this regard. And we have been made to understand that the limits, the frontier exploration services of NNPC has, at this stage now, is now left for NNPC's management to bring in an investor. And I can assure you, we are talking about first scarcity all over the country today. There is no way the value chain of the petroleum sector is explored in this area, in this instance, where the issues of this nature will not be an issue of the past, Baba. And because through here, I believe that NNPC had actually advertised. I saw the adverts, and then we've been made to understand that shortlisting has been concluded, and that the actual on-the-spot assessment by the relevant investor has actually started. So we believe that by the end of this year, something should be done in this nature, to explore this commercially viable crude oil deposit hydrocarbons in this area, not just crude oil. I understand we have we have the gas here, we have the condensate here. So we expect that whosoever will come in here as an investor will deploy a modular refinery, will deploy a petrochemical plant, will also deploy a power plant, which will change the economic landscape of this environment. So this is real GDP focus of the two states that are affected, and I think the coming into force to these states will also become host community, because it's natural. They become host community, so the direct impact in terms of economic activities. So we must commend the NNPC Limited, and also commend Mr. President for even finding this present team, Mele's-led team, finding them worthy to be appointed as the pioneer managing director and directors of NNPC Limited. We as Nigerians, who are the shareholders in this business, expect so much from them, and I think they have not failed us. So now that we have seen these things for ourselves, we will now go back to the National Assembly, then look into their budget for this year, because we have come, we have seen, we are convinced. And we'll then see what we need to do as a National Assembly to encourage that what is happening here in the Gongola Basin happens across every other basin. Because the exploration of hydrocarbon now is now the direct responsibility of the government. Because the creation of the data first is what an investor looks at. So from the exploration stage to that creation of data stage is where we are looking at right now, because we must also move this to other areas. So I can begin to imagine and can begin to wonder the wonders that will happen across the Gombe and the Bauchi axis. And this is what we keep on saying, that being a host community or being an oil-producing community is the right of every community in Nigeria. If oil could be found here, then there is oil in everywhere in this country. So we as a country, we must take it upon ourselves to explore, so that our country can take the benefits and the advantage of this God-given resource. So I think we are very delighted, because we kept on saying in Abuja, where is frontier? Where is frontier? We have come, we have seen from frontier. Yes. And I believe that Nigerians will now have a better understanding that something good is happening here. That's the real essence of this visit today. So I commend you, I commend Mele and his team, and I commend the board, I commend everybody that we are satisfied with what we have seen here. And it gives us greater hope that better things lies ahead of us. Unless any other of my colleagues have something to say. Are we okay, Baba? No, we are. Are we okay, Baba? No, okay, then. To God be the glory. Thank you.
This is where we conclude this edition of the program. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Till next week, I am Dennis Adigunloye. See you then.